welcome back to the Washington Outsider Report on the Coalition Radio. For those newly joining the program, my name is Irina Zuckerman, and I am the editor-in-chief of the Washington Outsider. Today with us, we have a special guest. He's the former president of the Grand Comoro Islands in the Comoros, and his name is Abdou Soulé Elbak. We'll be discussing the topic of U.S.-Africa relations, specifically the African Leaders Summit that took place in Washington in December, and the consequent changes in U.S. Policy on Africa that we are seeing in the media. We are seeing a shift. We are seeing that President Biden is looking to make his first Africa tour this year. And there's been announcements of security and other changes in U.S. approach to the entire continent. We'll be discussing more of it later. But first we turn to President Elbak to talk about a little bit about him to our audience, which is very mixed international. And could you tell us a little bit about yourself, a little bit about Grand Comoro and your political background?
Yes. I'm born Mzee Abdou Soulé Elbak in Moroni. We did our primary studies in Comoros, intermediate schools also in Comoros, then the secondary school in Saudi Arabia. Then again, for the university studies, graduated from King Abdulaziz Universities in linguistics, Department of European Languages. Of course, there we get our scholars, and we got a great assistance from the Saudian authorities. At the moment, we have worked in the Foreign Affairs of Comoros as translator. I worked in the National Center of Research and Scientific Research, and worked in the parliamentarian 3 times. We've been elected there, and being also elected from the parliament as a chairman of the Foreign Affairs Committee, Defense, Security, and Safety. Lastly, I have been the first president, officially president of Grand Comoros, elected as president of the autonomous island of Comoros on a very hard period, the period of tentative separation between Anjouan and the rest of Comoros. Today, we are looking the situation very difficultly. We are on hands again of dictators, a military who discover politics by treasury. He was chief of the army and make a coup d'etat against the President Tajidin and get his test. And every time he's trying to put his hands falsely, and the Comoro is on risky to be destroyed again because of his temptation to remain on the power as far as he can. We hope to have the reason. We hope that the international community will discover what is on these days in Comoros, and as usual, doing their best to protect peace in the country, to avoid any crisis. Uh, recently, as you mentioned, the summit of African presidents, what His Excellency, the President of the United States of America, mentioned and tried to get from his guests. We hope that strategy will be true, and Americans are going to involve themselves on the security of the world, and namely the security of small countries like Comoros, to give the place to give the place on the democratic procedures. I'm listening to you.
One of the issues specifically that the U.S. administration highlighted during the summit is the importance of supporting civil institutions, democracy, and fighting corruption. What do you think U.S. can do with respect to supporting those issues in Comoros and other various African states?
We are well placed to discover the situations. And nobody, as we have seen on the first moment when Azadi took the power by force and imposed himself as president of the state, when the regime of the time shout on the population in a very big day, a day of Eid, I mean celebration of the last year of Hajj. No, it was when we are going out from the Ramadan, we
I'm sorry, you muted yourself.
Azadi had shout on its population. Fortunately, the international community were well known of what was had gone, and they came to the country. They tried to make procedures of comprehension and reconciliation, and then we start to talk together and work together with the guarantee of securing the election by international structures, international security, and of course South Africa, a numbers of militaries coming from the whole side of the continent come and had the control of that election. All parties has agreed and accepted of the way how it was, and things, Comorian old people was very glad. And I think on time being, it is more necessary, very, very important than before, to have that assistance, because everything is in hands of militaries, and they open fire every time. Even we are making burials of people killed without any evidence, any proof. We don't know how. Even people, because they were militaries, they cut them, and in numbers of days, we found those people already buried with their suit, with their shoes. We were, I mean, the population of those different sides are obvious to open. They force to see what happened and how the sons are treated. So Comoros is living very, very, there's fear everywhere. And one day or 1 month, when the administration of America will send people to Comoros, they will leave all. These are not things created. There's no any lies there. This is a description of factors on the ground. Comoros beg all their friends from all over the world to turn and see which part of Comoros of the world today will be a model of peace, a model of I mean, a people, a population can be very proud of the mode of life as Comorian, but what is going now, none have, I mean, have can become and can be sure of the future with Mr. Azadi. So instead, if you support us with security, if the international community accept to introduce, to enhance themselves, so that we get a confidence on ourselves and respect among population and politicians, then I'm sure that all over the world, population who can come and we have a very good life investment will be open. All get will be open, and we, with those kind of population, will bring us, assist us to protect what we have on our life, will be our best and the more close to us to live together. And taking again confidence for our future, for the future.
One of the concerns about the summit was that, on the one hand, the administration claims that it wants to enhance relations with African states, it wants to guard against penetration by Russia and China, and it wants to support civil institutions, fight against corruption. On the other hand, many of the leaders present were part of the problem. How do you think it's possible to manage policies that address these concerns, given that many of the states are not democratic and the leaders who were invited are part of the very issue that the administration wants to fight?
This is the worst way of correcting the life of politics in Africa. We, unfortunately, up now, until today, when I was younger, we were usually saying that the African Union, the African Union, yes, it's a syndicate of his presidents. The presidents don't bother on constitutions. Presidents are making, the strategy to be there forever. So Comoros, let us say today, when we are hearing that with Mr. President, it is a friend countries of Comoros. We cannot point out fingers to Senegal, but we do believe that Macky Sall, what he's doing there, he's trying to prepare that for Comoros, which is a very, we cannot understand how a person, Mr. Azali, whom we know him very well, because we were opposite each other and we defeat him. Today we again defeat him. But if the army is there to control, there will not be liberty. There will not be the sovereignty of the country will go far away. The decision of the population will not have any room. No, it's a force. So I think that's my point of view. Comoros does not need a lot of things. Comoros need to be accompanied for the interest of democracy, for the respect of our population, because in democracy, the power is in the hands of the population, not on arms. Until today, Azadi thinks on arms. He's turning left and right and give orders to armies, bring your arms on your shoulders and shout to this. These things are there. That's why the opposition is beyond, though I'm not sharing their position, but I'm singular. I'm the only one. And I do know that if I say I'm going to give you the evidence so that the international community discover the reality. But if we discover the reality and you leave him exerting his force and the power by corruption, you know that your intention, your perspectives will be only tossed without sense, without any target. So whatever you want to change the way and give, or can you believe, Como today, Azadi want to place to give the power on his son, when he himself is not accepted. He failed to deal, to guide, to lead the country, and want to give it to his. So we come over here. If we get that proposal of America, and then we be convinced of its reality, I'm sure that Comoros will never think of another partners. You know what is happening today in other countries of Africa with their principal partners. That not because our neighbors, African, do not like France or this or that. No, because what the cooperation is not seen at is said or convened, but we are talking without actions. I think time is on now to say and act on the same time for an objective given, an objective which two or all parties are agreed. All of us, we dream democracy in the continent. All of us, we dream to fight together against the poverty. Yes, we do fight, all of us, and we do accept to go against ignorance. And these are not said talks of today. Long time ago, we usually hearing that poverty is still taking place, corruption forcing, because authorities in Africa are not, respected. That authority would be accepted if they are respecting the values of humanity. They are not there. Even the the good, the wealthy, the wealth of nations are going on few hands because they are uh, uh, sisters, they are nephew of president, of the chief of the army, and so and so and so. So we we hope what we are hearing today, we can place ourselves, we can place ourselves behind the the superpower because they are full of determination. They have there is a science which proving the best road to follow, and we think peace, safety will dominate on the total land of Africa, and not because we want peace, we want justice. We are against poverty, and doing by today, things coming worse and worse. Please open your eyes. Please listen what we are looking for. Please accept to accompany us to be one day like your different countries as leader of the world. Yes.
What specific steps do you think US should be taking to address these issues? You mentioned exactly that there's been a lot of talk, but not a lot of action. So speaking of action, what are the actionable steps that you would recommend for the international community, for the US and everyone else who wants to contribute to the solution process?
An easy things. We know it need money for them, not for our countries, for them to support the 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 the, the best sense and the good sense. As I mentioned, we need election in Comoros, but being sure that those elections will be controlled by a, a free people with the good skills to defend the, 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 the rules and laws. Because without that, there will never be a democratic election. So there will never be a government which will be accepted, a government which will lead its population correctly, a government which which will go I mean, a government will respect what the population like. We have constitution which never be respected. And we are sure, you know that. You have had recently a meeting on economics and which gather all the international representatives which are in Comoros, and the president inside, the ambassador of France, the representative of the United Nations Program of Development. Only they say, in front of the president, they mention what non person would dare saying that, but they are tired of the liars of the Comorian authorities. Inside the meetings, they said what? Corruption is a mastercard of the government in Comoros. So people who are inside, they told what happened there in Comoros. So this is not a political talks, political words. I'm talking to you by my belief. It's my heart which is pronouncing that. And you know, I'm not talking about what happened to Sami. I'm not talking about what happened to the government, the governor of the island of Anjouan. I don't say about people are killing right. I mean, without any judgment. And you do you see? So this is what we are talking. This is what we are claiming, having even if they say in 3 months, the opposition would face them. If there is a control, and that with the right, the one who's win is the one who's going to rule the country, not the one who is rich, richness, what the rich is not his. But this is the money of the, because we know that before they become president, they couldn't have even 10 liters of petrol. And today they have 1,000 or 100 of this and that. We don't bother, we don't care about that. Assist us to protect text, to protect rules, to protect the right sense for a good behavior, for a good life after those elections. Let you assist us, engage yourself for justice. None can prove and say that there is structures, government structures, countries, they are not existing. On documentation, on text written, you can have them. But seeing that infrastructures acting for change, for development, for something good, good things, it is nearly impossible. It is through this assistance of controlling elections step by step and year by year until we're having a very good route and leave us at the time. We do believe that you will have a good part of the world to live safely and as you like. You can have your type of life you need without being threatened or anxious of your life. And we Comorian, I'm not saying that I'm too proud of my country, but I'm telling you, Comorian are very, very, very welcoming people. Anyone can have his life as he is the leader of the place. No one will disturb you. Whatever you do, they'll call you to respect them because they will do and they know how to respect a friend, neighbors, and people who are around yourself. So this is any type of life you like it in Comoros, you can have it. And with the, I'm sure we can pretend to be the best one or in democracy and yes,
one of
I'm
the
listening to you.
And one of the issues facing Comoros is the is it has a young and growing population, but with very low education level, and that's stands in the way of getting out of poverty, and it stands in the way of economic prosperity, and that coupled with the government-related conditions, lack of respect for democratic institutions, is creating a situation that's very difficult and complicated. What do you think can be done to provide the younger generations with better options?
Yes, I told you. I'm repeating again. Comorian uh, don't accept, don't like violence.
Mm-hmm.
Comorian don't like violence. Comorian are looking too much for a good condition of life. We do believe that Comorian outside of the country, if we have numbers of Comorian in America, you never get them in crimes, you never get them in. You get them on the best pole of transparencies, transparencies, a good manner, working hard to live in good condition, to lead a good condition of life. This is the type of Comorian. Yes, studies are not on higher level, but we still fight against ignorance. We, with our poverty, but parents have the obligation to sell whatever they have. What they success to collect and put it together, selling it to send his infant to uh, to foreign countries where surveys, studies are well done. So we are learning. Because most of them, when they come back at home, the third month, you get them running right and go and left to go outside looking for their life. We need them, but we can't force them. We know they are, they are escaping. The abasement of government regime, they are escaping those bad habits which they leave it when they were out the country, government, and they found that the same people are still there and passing the heritage to their children, their sons, and so on. That's why Komoro still living in far away of the coast for their sons, the studies of their sons. I'm sure the history of Comoros, you know it. I'm sure you know it. Since we took our independence, but we never live in freedom. Mercenaries were coming and throwing out presidents. Yes, we can say because they were exaggerating, and those who were out come in France and bring people with arms to take them out, killing them. That thing is still there. You can hear President Assali saying, oh, we are here now, there's no coup d'etat. Yes, because chief of armies are, live on corruption. And people, all who are there, you cannot believe, but sure, maybe you heard it. The chief of the army, the delegate of the army at the presidency of the republic, were talking recently, 4 days ago, talking to journalists of Al-Watan, which is a newspaper of the government, saying you cannot work with government, being paid by government, and speaking the truth. Truth does not have a place when you are using source of the government, when you are paid by the government as debt for his family. This is, an audio of 2-3 days ago. And this is a proof of what I'm telling you. We need your assistance. Again, I'm repeating that. We need the assistance of the international community. Protect what we will agree to protect the decision of the population, to protect the results, and put them away from structures of, they are not confident on that. And there are a lot of, but definitively, if the subject we had talked about it before, I would prove it by thousands of elements. Anyhow, for not concerning Kumos, the solution is very close, very close. Azali does not have an army which can face Madagascar, for instance. So I don't speak about the world. If you are ready, if you, you spread this information, or you share it with others like you who would like to know the reality of this country, you would assist a lot Comoros as a whole. Those who are in the government, they are there because they are looking for the bread. Yes, not because they are accepting what they are living. Really, they are there because if they are not there, they can die possibly, or it can be possible they are fed of money, are fed of poverty. The education is there. Well, it was going well from the colonization until our independence. Things were on the good side, but with the coming I mean, with these hands of the army on the top of decision of the state, there's nothing going. Everything is paralyzed. Okay?
Well, until recently, the US focused exclusively on security situation in Africa and only counter-terrorism operations in various countries. It generally stayed out of conflict zones other than through diplomatic efforts and efforts to mediate between different parties, and really did not contribute very much to the resolution of these civil civil wars or other conflict resolutions or anything else. After the summit, this has shifted. U.S. Um, is pushing for a broader strategy to counter different concerns in Africa, including poverty, uh, including corruption, including undemocratic processes. But so far, despite this broad general idea that these things should be done, a cohesive strategy is not yet evident. What and as I mentioned at the beginning of the program, President Biden is planning a trip to several African countries later this year. Secretary of State Blinken, has also visited a number of countries. The problem is a number of lobbies, international organizations, and so forth have essentially monopolized the coverage of African issues and have been advising the administration in a very single-minded way. What can the US government do to get a broader understanding of the issues facing Africa from a more diverse scope of sources and information?
Oh, sister, I'm telling you, Comoros now, Azadi suppose having presidential election in 1 year. I mean, next year, proposing having a presidential election. From now on, interest the international community to involve, to take on his hands the organization of those elections. Start talking, discussing with all concerns actors. Speak with the government, speak with the opposition, and accept to be the central actors to control, to make the arbitrage. I mean, to deal with those actors, secure them from the first actions to the results of elections, and declare them with the implication of either the opposition and the government. After that, in short time, there will be election of members of parliament, making the same thing, having the control until the commission of municipalities having those on the core of the administration of the country. You're going to see Azali will not have even 2%. Azali will fly away of those who are going, conceived, accepted as politicians and deal the country. I don't say it to me. I will be for him. No. But I'm telling you, just, test election changing. Or I don't think that the constitution need changes. It can be important for us that those declarations, those tests be protected, respected. If for 2-3 years, Comoros succeeds to enter on the world of democracy, on the of justice, of respect, you see that Comoro will forget struggles, complications, and I mean, a good, a bad behavior on the whole of those 4 islands. I'm saying 4 islands will be in security, will be in safety. And you will see, you are going to discover a population who like too much rules. Okay? So those problems, we are African, as old African, but we know, and we are promising you, we like too much rules. But the population cannot be in rules, in respect of rules, while the authorities are verifier of that. We need your assistance. We need your pushing ahead to have a changes on the I mean in the whole life of Comoros. Yes.
Well, one thing that we have seen in the past is that, first of all, determined populations can sometimes overcome even undemocratic practices by the leadership. We have seen that happen with the Somalian elections, which were very nearly hijacked, but there was a very strong pushback in response to these efforts by the previous administration there. And we also have seen when there is a pro-democratic activity going on inside the country, it also sometimes has a domino effect in the entire region. Similarly, it can go in the opposite direction. When undemocratic forces prevail, sometimes the entire region ends up falling, or the same pattern can occur elsewhere. And some of these undemocratic regimes help each other sustain power. They provide military assistance to each other and engage in all sorts of activities to prevent democratization and to prevent fair election outcomes. This current situation does provide a great opportunity to ensure the rule of law, to ensure the processes with the year before elections in Comoros. Um, we hope to see a more inclusive dialogue with all stakeholders. So far, however, the US has had very limited experience in Africa in that regard. How do you see the follow-up to the summit, to the African Leader Summit? What do you see is the necessary steps to build up to the sort of assistance that you are asking for? What specifically needs to happen after that group gathering and after all these conversations we've had? What's next between now and between providing some sort of a support for a democratization of the elections?
I think the way pronounced today by President Biden, oh, it is a good
Oh,
thinking.
yes, you
This
muted
is
yourself. Also, the video has disappeared. The video is gone, and also you muted yourself.
okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, this is a very good thing. I mean, it is a very good way. Oh, President, the United States President called the President of Africa and talked with him and give the principal line. And now you come to speak with the politician of Africa to make a commentary, to speak about what is the vision of America, or what is the concern of different parts. How are people acting, looking that the target of the American policy today? Okay, I'm saying, oh, concerning Africa, what is said, what is born today by the American authorities, it's a good sense. It's a very good thing. Really, very good things. So please also taking in account our fears, because we like that life. We are ready to assist, and we see that we are sincere, we are clear. We need transparencies. And with the sides, we are talking the same thing, and we're talking what President Biden said and looking for. We are determined to reach that goal. We are sharing those the procedures assist the continent for a clear election. Please, even make a small investigations. You don't need us. You have many ways to discover, to have the truth on your hands. And you will see, none will accept to go far away from you. Peace will be there with a few money. Assist population to push away those people of bad conducts, bad, I mentioned that bad behavior, and people who are ready to push step by step towards a true life and a right life. This is very easy. Election, forget that Komoro has armies, put them on your or on the camp, close it, and having people from America, people from everywhere. Election will start at 6 morning and close. Stop it. at 6 morning and at 7, 8 result given. Let people civil of people of ordinary people to make the ongoing of the election and liberate in common accord, in common agreement with all concerns in the election. Like that, we as politicians will take as the sin, we will take that actions, and you see at the end they are going all of them to appreciate the system. Those, I mentioned that before, those who are with them today, because there's no other way, another way to have his food. They go where there is something to eat. They're afraid of food. Few are not afraid, but most of people are looking where they can have and pocket something. This is money, because all the problem because of money, but money become a cause, a very bad causes, because rules, laws are not applicable. Do you follow me? Laws are not concerns, are not seen. Laws does not have value. The way if you engage the international community, if they engage to have a good elections, ideas respected, the best one who the population choose him will be the one ruling the country. I don't think that there will be any way of a way of how do you say? I don't think if the truth are defended, are protected, if rules are pushing ahead, I don't think that there would be any type of aggressions and fight between countries and so. Yes, Comoros, I'm talking about our case. If those rules, if we have a parliamentarian true elected, a president true elected, and people working according the civil, the population decision, Comor will not be any type of suffer or crisis, would be in very, very good position. You will get true friends to whom you can make confidence. This is my point of view, which I'm telling you, it is shared by the whole population.
And what do you think should the role of non-governmental actors be in this process? How can people outside the US government, members of the international community who are not in governments, be helpful?
This is a very, very easy question, my sister. Yes, very easy questions. Easy. With myself, I know wherever America is there, the world is there. Okay? America is today as the father of the whole, the world, all the world. if America, in the case of Comoros, they speak with France, I know the question of allies was we Comorian with France. Until today, France, France as an ally of America. America can easily speak with them, and France can convince Azali to leave the country on the faith of Comorian civil population. Okay, America can be agree with the African Union to take a part, press them away, militaries in the system in the electoral system. Yes, and appreciate how things were going to be. Push them apart. No arms on the electoral bureau offices. No militaries. Yes, militaries can be from African countries, from the United Nations, from to protect the whole against any type of violence. These people express themselves freely, independently with the menace of the government. This is a very silly thing. With a small country as Comoros, the demonstration will be, a type, will be give. The demonstration can be advices. It will give us everywhere in the world the device. This is a good model. That's true. The one elected today, all people are, giving support, full of joys, enjoys results. And the world will be another thing instead of waiting every time or people coming, changing things with complications. Do for me. So I do believe, sister, that liking peace over the world, having a good decision which place all of us in peace, will not be without supporting freedom, without supporting laws, without supporting those who used to suffer from their childhood until today. Because of what? Because they are not of a bigger, they are not of a general, they give in general colonel, but the people give them, choose them, and the people, population are respected. Justice is there, and we protected it. And then the expressions, the free expressions of speaking is there as it is in your countries. I know that France, America, you had suffered too much before, but as you were awake hundreds of years before, you get the habit to discuss, to defend realities. You had the habit, you have it, you are common with it now. None of you is threatened because he's speaking, he's denouncing what is ongoing by governments. So give us the opportunity to imitate your way of life. Assist our countries, assist Africa to be free, really free. You get them more and better close to you than any time else. From new generations, from new to others, olders, they can form themselves but on the right way. Never right. I mean, faithful can be followed, or sorry, let me say, never getting nonsense being on the head, transparencies and right will be always in advance if it is protected, if it is supported. This is my point of view. It will be easy if you make the demonstration with Comoros, speak with the oppositions, speak with the government, put them. I'm telling you that because I was with Azadi 2 years. I never been with him on his first stage. I was the first in opposition against him. When he's elected second time, we meet him. We suggest to him, we advise him, President, you can do anything. You don't have any success if you couldn't convince Comorian to accept between themselves a Comorian. Forget Ngazija, forget Anjuan, forget Moed, forget non-civilized and civilized. Put your population in one hand. This is your country, and this is your responsibilities. This is the responsibility. And then, with those two things, decentralization, patriotism, we can do everything, which 40 years ago we couldn't, but today we can do that. And they say, this is my belief. I'm thinking like that. Okay, we are supporting you. But after 2 years, we discover that the person is very fire of that. Is hurt, regard, look only to his spirit, his life, and the life of his families. Yes. And we tell him, by Excellency, if you don't thing of you have said, if you don't bother about your promise, we, I succeed to do that. But others are afraid of that. We tell him, and I'm sure, none can respect on that. Because when I talk with him, I hide my voice and say that wherever I were. And this is the democracy. But I'm saying, no, it isn't anyone who can like that. Comoros can be a very good model for you. The international community, please accept and see and do it. You saw it on the time of Azadi and Elbak. It's me, Elbak. When the Francophonie, when the African Union, even the embassy of America in Madagascar, they used to come every day in Comoros and go and reach to the point, yes, the civil society needs our assistance. We require from Comorian parties, Comorian part, to respect the rules, to respect democracy. Militaries, you are remaining on your camp. Leave politicians, leave in the civil society to act. It's their right. This is a very silly thing, sister. And then you judge, you approve. How was it? Azadi will not have one parliament. Sure, he will not have it. Maybe he can give a lot of money. And the one will have a few things you can just to arrange for the expenses of cars, petrols, and offices in villages. Can beat him with a big difference. Today, you see, through a small radio, a small telephone, all the world are following us. So to convince, easy, my sister. So how have we to? We need your participations to organize, to control the ongoing of the electoral procedure systems out of arms, out of the armies. How then Comoros armies became danger for their population. Yeah. In Comoros, instead of begging, praying, defending the armies, or the army defending the population, the army plant arms on our heads. You say yes or no. And yes, you are far away of danger. You say no, it can be, badly, falsely treated. I think in this way, we can get rid of any difficulties and cries of joys will, I told you, will be spread everywhere. And they will say, today is today. And thanks, America. Thanks, African Union. We'll forget those old expression of seeing the International Organization Africa as a syndicate of president of Africa, because we found our saying is usually saying that they are looking for the interest and not the interest of countries. They don't think that to compare one day Africa with other continents. And this is ought to be our conception. Again, I'm summarizing on this. The important thing is that election, yes, election, but not election on Azadi's life, on Azadi's option. No, elections as yours election. As the election done here in France, which relieved Macron on the presidential of France. We can do them in Comoros. Yeah, easily take the army of Azadi out of the proceedings. All parties in Comoros will participate. And the result will be accepted, sure. I think you did understand me.
Oh, I completely understand and I agree. I think that there needs to be a lot more support, and I hope that it's not just the political institutions in the US who lead the way. I hope it's also the civil society here that can contribute in an important way in addressing these questions and in building relationships and in assisting in providing training and support for the civil society in Comoros and elsewhere in Africa as well. We heard today from the former president of Grand Comoro in Comoros, President Elbak, and we discussed the upcoming elections in the country, the efforts at democratization, and how the recent African Leaders Summit and the consequent pivot towards Africa by the U.S. government serves as an opportunity to address the very questions that U.S. has prided in fighting corruption and building up strong civil institutions in addressing fair and free elections and leading the way in helping populations bring to power governments that respect the rule of law and that do not use violence and engage in human rights abuses against the opposition. This is something that we will continue watching and continue addressing. Meanwhile, I hope that those watching the program will heed the call and will, to the best of their abilities, spread this message through the media, through NGOs, to their government officials, because as President Okam mentioned, there is an opportunity to help people who want to model themselves after the United States, who want to build up similarly strong institutions and to have a country that can be an excellent partner and ally to other African countries as well as to the US, to Europe, and to others. And I think this is a great opportunity that we should embrace and engage with. Thank you so much for your time. And thank you so much to everyone who is watching us. We will be back next week, Tuesday night at 9 p.m. as usual. The Washington Outsider Report on the Coalition Radio with you was the editor-in-chief of the Washington Outsider, Irina Zuckerman. I hope you join us again. Thank you for watching.
Thanks too much.